Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and to another installment of the N-scale railroad build in my new workshop. If you're watching last time, you will have seen me get the final frames built over the start of the main freight yard. The next task is to start working on the upper level backdrop, and I'll get that framed up in this installment. And there will also be a surprise guest appearance later in the video. So without further ado, let's just head out to the workshop and get to work. Well, here is the final piece of sub-roadway installed on the main level. This is the section that goes between the junction town and the main yard crossing the river. A good portion of that end will ultimately be cut out for the bridge, but for the time being it just needs to be a 3-inch white strip of plywood to allow the client to get trains running. Also yesterday I started working on the frames for the upper level backdrops. I didn't get very far because a storm came through and cut the power out, so I just went inside and worked inside with the generator running. Anyway, I am going to continue where I left off, and I'll check in with you again periodically. Don't go away. Well, the backdrop frame for this end of the top deck is now done. These are the only 3 benchwork sections that have the backdrops built as integral parts of the framework. Everything else down the peninsula will just be freestanding. I don't know if I need a top frame on this curve and on this one, but I have taken the precaution of cutting back the top straight bit by 1 inch at each end, just in case I need to splice a piece in later. In both cases where the curves cross benchwork joins, I have an angled frame right on the joint, or 2 frames actually, 1 on each section. So there's one of those special posts, and here's the other one. Actually, this is 3 posts. The 2 pieces that you can see the end grain for are the start of the peninsula backdrop, and then that butts into the 2 back-to-back posts on the divergent sections either side of the helix. And then there'll be 2 screws angled at the bottom and 2 screws down from the top, where you can see that little triangular masking tape sticking out. So that's how that backdrop section will lock together. Anyway, the rest of it is just a series of posts which will not be glued to the framing, they'll just be screwed only. And then the masonite will be glued to the posts. And it will come apart probably in 4 pieces, because making it permanently attached to this level will take up a lot of space in the trailer, and we're paying by the foot. So that will fit a lot more economically. Anyway, let me get back to work now, and I'll check in with you later. Don't go away. Well, here are the first 2 posts for the freestanding portion of the backdrop. I started off by putting blocking between the 2 ribs, between the 2 joists over here. A slightly different arrangement here because there was the bracket at this point, so I did not have another joist to attach to at this end, but I put a gusset in the back to keep it straight. And these are just screwed to the bottom, they're not glued. So this is the straight piece in the middle of the long curve. The gentle curves at the end don't really need formers. At that end I'm going to make the next joint where that blue level is, but I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to get the two join together. So I'm going to go inside, let that mull over in my mind while I get on with something else, and I'm going to come out tomorrow. So don't go away, I'll check in with you later. Well, that is all the backdrop framing done, all the way to the end of the peninsula. This last post had to be sitting on the deck, so I put a gusset in, and that will be easy enough to hide in the scenery because there'll need to be a ridge there to disguise the end of the backdrop anyway. Anyway, I don't have any masonite panels in stock right now. I need to go to Lowe's and get some, so don't go away, I will be right back. Well, the railroad probably looks exactly like it did in the last clip. That's because I haven't been out here for a few days. I needed more materials for the backdrops and the foam tops, and the delivery of my truck was imminent, so I waited for that, thus saving the cost of delivery. Anyway, here it is. It arrived yesterday. So now I've been able to use it. Let me just get it unloaded and I can get back to work. Don't go away. Well, that is all the foam tops cut for the upper level, all the way around. Well, it's only on the back side of the double-sided backdrop because, as I mentioned before, the front is all open grid because of the grades. The foam tops go all the way to the end of benchwork. I will have to cut them back at this point, probably 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, to put a ledge in so that I can get thinner road bed across the top, because there isn't room for 1-inch foam over the lower level track. I'm not going to glue any of them in just yet. I'm going to start work on the backdrops, and I want to get all the backdrops and fascia pieces installed before I glue any of the foam tops in place. That way I'll be able to make minor adjustments as I go if necessary. I think the first piece of backdrop I'm going to start with is the one where that narrow strip is clamped on the far side of that corner. So let me go away, get organized, and I will be right back. Well, that's all for this instalment. Hope you enjoyed the show. As you probably gathered by now, the special guest appearance was from my new truck. I ordered that the beginning of January in 2022, and more than 18 months later it was finally delivered to the dealership. And in that time the price went up by more than 60%. If I'd known in advance that was going to happen, I wouldn't even have bothered to order it. And I almost walked out on the deal when they told me. So that's all for this instalment. Anyway, in the next instalment I will get some masonite attached to those backdrop frames, and I hope to see you back here for that. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and bye for now.